Hi folks, Brad Bryant here of the Bryant Medicare Agency. Today we're going to talk about Medicare Gaps Explained, the six parts, the six gaps of Parts A and Part B. Before we get into that, if you want to contact us, you can reach me via email at bryantmedicare@gmail.com. Call us at 704-800-4568. And of course, as you're doing right now watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our video channel, Our Senior Journey. What we're trying to do is just broaden our reach to as many people as we possibly can and get that information and knowledge out there to those folks that are looking for it. So today, Medicare Gaps Explained, getting into the Parts A and Parts B. So first of all, Part A, what are the gaps? And just as a refresher, go back, Part A, remember, is hospital insurance. So that is what is covered under Part A. So what are the gaps? What is it that you're up against? So the first gap is going to be the Part A deductible. That deductible covers the first 60 days, and that 60 days amount is $1,632 per benefit period. Now that's important, the per benefit period, because, for example, if you go to the hospital in January or February and you spend 4 or 5 days and then you get discharged, your benefit period triggers that day. If you don't go back to the hospital and 60 days pass and then something else comes up and you go back into the hospital, after that 60-day benefit period, you now have triggered a new benefit period. So now you're subject to another $1,632 deductible. So depending on your situation, and this happens a lot, especially as we get older, you go into the hospital for one thing, take care of that, come back out somewhere down the road during the year, you may go back into the hospital. So if you're one of those folks that are looking at getting into Medicare, you're turning 65 soon, and you're thinking, I think I'm just going to go with this Part A, Part B, and I don't really want to spend the money on a Medicare supplement plan, a Medigap policy. These are the things that you're going to be up against. So just pay attention and understand what you're up against before you make that decision. The second part of the gap is over 60 days. So days 61 to 90, you're now going to be subject to a $408 deductible per day from days 61 to 90. So 30 days at 408 is a little over $12,000 out of pocket if you had an extended stay in the hospital. So a pretty big chunk of change. And then if you have an even further extended stay in the hospital over 90 days, so 91 plus, now you're talking $816 per day. So that can get very expensive also. So you add those up if you have some sort of catastrophic illness, and you could be a lot of money out of pocket. The last gap under Part A is skilled nursing facility, or SNF, as you'll see it displayed in several places. So first of all, you have to qualify to get into a skilled nursing facility, and that qualification is 3 days of an inpatient care at a hospital. So you have to make sure you've actually been admitted, because we know some people that have been in the hospital and they've just been under observation but haven't been formally admitted into the hospital. Then the doctor says, yes, you should go to a skilled nursing facility. You go and try and get in, and they say you don't qualify. You have to go back, get admitted into that hospital, spend the 3 days before you can go back and get some help from the skilled nursing facility. So the skilled nursing facility, the first 20 days are free, so nothing out of pocket for you. So that's a good thing. Then after that, 21 days plus, you're now going to have an out of pocket of $204 per day. The average number of days for a stay at a skilled nursing facility right now is 28 days. So if you do end up going to a skilled nursing facility and just do the average length of time, then you could be subject to that, on average, 8 days at $204 per day. Now, obviously, that can be a plus or minus depending on the person and their particular situation. But what you want to do with all this is just add all of these up, because on this portion of it, the hospital, the skilled nursing facility, if you have a catastrophic illness and if you have extended stays at the hospital, it can be very expensive out of pocket. So just keep that in mind. Now, Part B, what are the gaps in Part B? Now, as a refresher again, remember Part B covers the medical side. So we're talking labs, x-rays, doctors, so your primary care physician, surgeons, ER surgeons, hospitalists, durable medical equipment, preventive services like colonoscopy screening, things like that. That's all covered under Part B. So what are the gaps? Well, the first gap under Part B is going to be the Part B deductible. This is an annual payment, and in 2024, that annual payment is $240. So that's the first amount of money that's going to come out of pocket for you if you go see a doctor at any given point at the beginning of the year. That's the money that comes out. Now, that number will change in 2025, and we don't know what it's going to go to yet, but we should get that number soon. It could go down, probably will go up. It typically does, but it has gone down in the past. So we just have to wait and see what that number is going to be. But that's an annual payment, and that's there. The second Part B gap that you've got to cover is the 80-20 coinsurance. So you go into a situation and use some doctor services. 80% is going to be covered by Medicare, but the other 20%, you're responsible for paying that 20% for most doctor services, outpatient therapies, durable medical equipment, and so on. Now, the big key point there is that 20% coinsurance is unlimited. There is no cap on that. So if you have a small instance in a small situation and you get a $100 bill from a doctor and your 20% is $20, it's probably not going to seem like much, at least to most people. But if you have a bigger situation, more of a catastrophic illness like we talked about under Part A, and let's say now all of a sudden you get a $100,000 bill and you have to pony up a check for 20% of that, or $20,000. Now, you might be in a position to pay that $20,000. Some of you are lucky enough to be like that out there, but you're not going to want to do it. So just keep these things in mind, because that could be a significant number depending on the affliction that may come about over time. And then lastly, our excess charges. Now, these are an amount that if they don't meet the full charge by the doctor, then the doctor can charge you in an excess of 15% over and above of what Medicare charges. Now, the vast majority of doctors do not participate in this. They are all under the Medicare system, and Medicare takes care of everything that needs to be taken care of, and you're not subject to it. My suggestion is if you are going to go see a doctor, just ask the question. Make sure that there are going to be no excess charges with the person that you're meeting that day. So that's it. Those are the 6 gaps, both Parts A, Parts B. Here they are side by side. Mind the gaps. Mind the gaps. That's a term that's been around for a long time. Didn't pertain to insurance so much. It does now. You need to make sure that you're aware of these, and then you can make the decision if you want to get into that Medicare supplement plan. So appreciate it, folks. Thank you. The next video that we're going to do for you is going to be on those Medicare supplement plans. Which ones cover these gaps? Which ones don't? Which one fits your situation? Thanks for watching.